Does this sound familiar to anyone? Every day you go to work and it feels like it's sucking the soul out of you and you just want to walk away. Well, maybe you really want to have your own business, but it's so unfamiliar and scary. What if you fail? Well, maybe it's the doubts that keep on coming up that tell you that maybe you just can't succeed at this. And then you ask yourself, is my idea going to work anyway? Will people even pay me for it? So today I'm going to be going through my top 5 things to check and see if you are ready to make the leap. Hi, I'm Marianne from One Life to Flourish, and welcome to a series for those who are dreaming of making the leap from their job to being a business owner. This is episode 9, and today I'm actually going solo with my 5 top tips to get you ready to make the leap successfully. So before we begin, we've got just a little bit of housekeeping to do. So first of all, if you know someone who is close to wanting to make the leap, maybe get them to come on over and have a look, invite them over. The other thing to do is just to make sure that you are where I am live by following the link that's up above. This way, if you've got any comments or any questions, you can pop them into the comments and I'll actually see them during the broadcast. Otherwise, I'll have to catch up with them after. So thank you for taking into consideration those things. So today I'm really talking about viability. In this case, it's to answer the question, is having my own business a viable option for me at this point in my life? Now, in my experience, there are a few different areas to check, but I'm going to zero in on 5 of them, hence my top 5. So the things to check in with are your support team, okay, your headspace, your passion, your money, and your idea. So I'm going to explain all of those as we go through. Before we start that though, because what I'm talking about relates to what I've learned through business, I'm just going to briefly give you an idea of my business that really kind of got me thinking along these lines. So the lessons that I've learned and the reason why these are my top 5 tips come from a business that I had that I started about 20 years ago. Now, basically, about 20 years ago, I decided to take my part-time hobby business of being a remedial massage therapist to the next level. I decided it was time to go full-time, and I resigned from my job as a teacher, walked away armed with all of my knowledge about massage and no knowledge about running a business. And consequently, I made mistake after mistake after mistake. And my business limped along, sometimes going well and often not, until I reached a critical point about 4 years later where I had to either choose to shut down the business at that point or keep going a bit longer and risk bankruptcy in probably about 3 months' time. So I'm telling you this because as I go through, I am going to reference my business a little bit. So just so that you've got some context there. So let's start with the first of my tips, and this is your support team. Now, this is really important to have in place just to help you achieve success, particularly when you're just starting. And what I would suggest is actually start from the people closest to you and kind of move out from there. So your partner, your children, any other close relatives, try and get them on board to support you because that will make it so much easier. Now, this is not to say that you have to have their support to succeed. I certainly know all about people who've had partners who are just not supportive or have actually been antagonistic to the idea and they've still been able to get on and have a successful business. Oh, hi, Roz. How are you going? Oh, yes. So you're understanding what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay. So once you've worked out if your family's going to be supportive, next, find some friends to surround yourself with as well. See if any of your close friends are really on board and supporting your idea. Now, in my experience, you kind of have some who are and some who aren't. The ones who are negative towards it and kind of putting it down and going, oh, do you really want to do that kind of comments, probably best to limit your, time with them and try and find some who are going to go, oh, yeah, I think this is a great idea. Yes, you really can do it, and really boost you and support you. So, friends, great to have them on board. Now, the next two are ones that I think are really important, and they're ones that you kind of need to join as part of building your business. So the first one is actually to have some kind of a support team around you. So in other words, join a community of supporting people, at least one. I'm part of a few different supporting communities, and they need to be people who are kind of focused on the same sorts of things as you, building a business, maybe building a business in the same area as you, anything that has some kind of a common connection, but they're all sort of on the same path as you, or they've already trodden the path that you're about to take. So try and find some groups. These can be online, or these can be, let's go and visit them if you're in the situation at the moment where you can go and visit groups. And the final part of your support team, I believe, should really be at least one kind of a coach. Now, this is particularly based on what happened with my business. Remember, I had no idea, just stepped out. And I really, really wish I had had a coach back then, but I didn't. So now I have actually made sure that I have a number of different coaches that have actually helped me through each stage of setting up for the business that I currently run. And I still have coaches on board. So you choose a mindset coach, you could choose a business coach, marketing coach, just basically anyone who you think is going to be a great support for you. You will need it. And, as I said, each step of the way, I bring on different coaches, and each and every one of them have helped me in some way. All right, so that is your support team. Have them in place. Then you need to kind of dive into what's happening in your head as you're thinking about your business. Hi there. So this is what I'm calling your headspace, but it's really about how confident are you feeling about yourself? How are you going to feel about actually putting yourself out there? Because your business isn't going to be about the product or the service that you're offering. It's going to be about how people get to know you. And are you willing to do that? I certainly wasn't with my massage business. I had in my head this idea that all I had to do was put a few ads in the newspaper, maybe do a letterbox drop or two. Remember, this is 20 years ago, no social media. And, I was definitely not going to attend any network events. I was not going to do anything like that, no expos, nothing at all. I was just going to tackle it out there and it would all be fine. So the reason why I thought that way was because I just wasn't confident in stepping up in that way. Yes, that's true, Roz. I'll just put this up so people can see it. So Roz is just saying that, back in the old days, it really was hard to actually get coaches to help you. So thank goodness we've now got times where we can actually tap into coaches and get all of their help and their support. And that's, I don't know that I actually even went looking for coaches back when I was trying to do it last time, but I really wish I had had one. So definitely a good point. All right, let's get back to headspace. So I just had so many fears, so many different things that kept on coming up. And rather than facing them, I just kind of kept on going. So I had fears around talking to people. I had fears around probably getting big with my business and having success. I had fears around failing. There were all different kinds of things like that that came up. And probably one of the worst one was sort of like a little message that would play through my head from my childhood. And it kind of went something like, tills can never make money. Yeah. So that was always kind of sitting in the background. So really, before you get too far into your business, try and deal with a lot of the head stuff that might get in the way. You really need to get rid of some of that baggage. Yes, it looks like Adair is saying that, yes, back then it probably was a weakness, seen as a weakness if you were getting, help and that kind of thing. So there was a whole lot of social stuff going on, but still a good lesson to learn. And at least nowadays, having help is almost seen as a necessary thing. All right, so next thing we're going to have a look at is your level of passion. So is your business idea linked to something that you are absolutely passionate about? Is it something that you are really interested in and it is actually going to give you scope for you to grow and change with it over time? And is it also linked to your deepest values? So you really need to say yes to all of these things to be able to have a success with your business, I believe. Obviously, this is my beliefs. I know of people who've just kind of latched onto some sort of an idea they're not really passionate about and sort of run with that, made some money. But, a business that you're developing should be about your values, your passions, the things that really fire you up. So really check in and make sure that, that it is in that way, that it's really important to you, because it's going to be tough. Okay, you can have good days, you can have bad days, but on the bad days, it's your passion and your belief that's going to keep you going. So, hi, Kadek. Nice to have you here. So, I found that this was one of my issues, surprisingly enough. I thought I had heaps of passion about massage, but that started to drop off when I found out that there was sort of a limit in how it was seen 20 years ago, when people just went along to see a massage therapist just to relax and, just get rid of the tension in my neck and my back, basically. So all day long, and I was working 10 to 12 hours some days, that was all I was doing. And I had this massive amount of knowledge and skills, and because of the baggage I was still carrying, I wasn't confident enough to actually go, well, hey, this is what you really need. Let's try and work out a plan for you. I just kind of thought, okay, I need these people to pay me money. I need money. So I just kept on going, and it wasn't what I wanted to do. And that was probably the biggest thing. That was the real underlying reason why eventually I quit. Probably if the passion had have remained, I might have kept on going, but it, because of a whole lot of circumstances, it just really dipped down. So I, just had nowhere to go, and I got caught in the money trap, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about, your money. So basically, this is something you really need to consider before you make the leap. As I told you at the start, I just went in and resigned, walked away from my teaching job, and was going to 100% do my business. I went from, regular pay packet to initially very little money. I did get a little bit of support from the government. I was doing a bit of study at the time, but, virtually nothing. So you really need to think about how much money you're going to have if you can actually do something like go part-time with your job, so you have a certain amount of income coming in. So you really need to think through, those kinds of things first of all. What's your financial foundation going to be? And then how much are you going to be able to make with your business as well. So, there's all these different things. But the first thing is you need to actually make sure that you're not going to fall over in a heap straight away because you don't have enough money coming in. And starting up a business can be expensive, even if you're trying to do it for as little money as possible. There's always stuff that you have to pay out. You can't do it for $0. You can get close if you get lots of advice and help and things like that, but you can't do it for nothing. And you still have to live. So be really aware of what your finances are like, get them set and understand where it's at, and that you're going to have a couple of years where it's going to be a little bit tricky. So the next thing from that, or the final thing from that, is actually looking at your idea. Is your idea actually going to be viable? This was one of the problems that I had with my massage business at that time, and this is when I was living in Brisbane. So in Brisbane 20 years ago, you had to work very long hours to actually break even as a massage therapist. Unless you were at the elite level, you were working for a sports club or something like that. But if you were just your general run-of-the-mill, suburban massage therapist, you really had to struggle to make money. Now, I went into it having done all these amazing figures that were not actually correct. So I hadn't done my homework. I didn't really know what the costs were. I didn't know realistically, how the whole income would work, even if I got, everyone paying what I wanted them to pay. And, there were lots of things around it that made it really difficult. So check and see, number one, is your idea actually going to have people wanting to pay you for it and wanting to pay you enough for you to have a reasonable income? You really have to be, checking and being honest. Is it going to do that? Okay, and then you need to make sure that you're not going to have to work yourself into the ground to make the money that you need. Okay, so are there ways to actually do it where it, is viable for you to still have a life? Okay, so hopefully you've got yes to both of those. Otherwise, have another think. Is there some way that you can adjust this thing that you're passionate about so that it does become viable? You don't want it just to be endlessly like a hobby business that can never support you. So look into it, think about it, and really consider your idea. So they're the top 5 things that I've discovered that I wish I had have known about before I stepped up into my first business. And I've certainly made sure this time with my business I've considered all of these things, and they're all part of my plan. So for those people who've been following the show, you'll know that I am still working part-time as well as running my business part-time. This is part of my plan. And then it will be a gradual change over, which, for me is a much healthier way to go. It may not be for you, but that's what I am comfortable doing at this point in time. So work out what you're comfortable with, consider all of that sort of stuff. Okay. So remember, have your support team, get your headspace sorted, check in and make sure it's really an idea that you're passionate about. You'll need passion to keep you going with your business. Check in with your current money situation and make sure that you're prepared for actually stepping out and what that will mean. And then also check in with how viable your idea is for making you the money that you want to make. All right, they're my tips. So if you are wanting to get some help, so if you're at the point where you're stepping out, you're wanting to actually get visible, get known on social media, then I am currently putting together a new program that is an online group program that will get you confident about using social media, particularly going live on social media, which is almost a key thing that you need to do nowadays, and also helping you get over any of your fears and beliefs that might be holding you back. So if that is something that you think would help you and support you, then please put in the comments more and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, you can send me a message and just let me know that you're interested. So the program will be starting at this stage towards the end of September. So just interested now, let me know. And there could be a special deal for early birds jumping in. Otherwise, you can head over to One Life to Flourish and see other ways that I can work with you. You can book in for a free discovery call. And I've also put into the comments a link to my Happiness Habits Playbook if you would like to actually build a bit more happiness into your life. Always recommended, one of the things I am passionate about. So how did you go with my top 5 tips? Did you think about them as I was going through? Are you all good to go? Or are there some things that you need to actually work on before you actually make the leap? Remember, preparation, planning, I believe, are some of the best things that you can do to actually make that leap successfully. Oh, okay, Adair and Roz, thank you for putting more. I'll send you some details. Thanks, ladies. All right, so please join me next Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time, Adelaide time. I'm going to be talking to Kay Hamilton, who's a transformation facilitator, and her business is Activate Your Courage. So I'm going to enjoy talking to her, finding out a little bit more about that. And I'll say see you for now and enjoy your week. Bye.